If you've ever heard the advice that you need to pick a niche as a coach, it might have felt a little bit awkward, uncomfortable, scary, and the truth is you shouldn't pick a niche. What you should do is uncover your niche, hone in on your niche over time. And the way you do that is through working with clients, it's through some intentional thought, but it's also through doing some market research. And recently for my fitness business, Enough Fitness, I put out a couple of posts on Facebook that really helped me get clearer on my niche. And I also updated my homepage to reflect that. So I wanted to do a bit of a journal entry and share with you what I did so that you can apply in your own business if you've already sort of roughly defined your niche, but you know it's time to get more specific. So let's dive in. All right, so now you're seeing my monitor. And the first thing I want to show you is the 2 Facebook posts that I put out last week in order to start to get a sense of how clear I was being in communicating what I thought my niche was. So this first post it starts with a line to kind of grabs people's attention. Everyone always wants to give an opinion on something. And then it gives a little bit of background and basically says, could you rate this quote unquote niche, how I'm articulating this niche on a scale of 1 to 10? How clear is it? And then I give them a little, sort of hook, a little elevator pitch here. All right, so you can pause the video if you want to read this full post. All right, and if you've come back, I got a lot of comments here. So 40 comments. I gave credit to Tad Hargrave of Marketing for Hippies. He gave me the overall template for this Facebook post, which was very helpful. I tagged some people, some colleagues who I wanted the perspective of, and I got a ton of feedback, and the majority of it said, hey, it's relatively clear. I can tell you provide fitness coaching. I can tell generally it's for motivated people, but I don't like the term overachievers. It feels judgmental. It feels negative, and especially when you're saying it's no judgment online fitness coaching, it shouldn't be judgmental. Some people said you should pick one of these groups, which I have considered and experimented with. And other people said, for high achievers, feel good about themselves isn't quite clear enough. It's not quite compelling enough. They want a specific result, right? Is it that they want to lose weight? Is it that they want a body that they're proud of? What is it? So this really helped give me that initial feedback. I went back to the drawing board. You can see here I have a little Evernote file where I was keeping comments and I was asking clients also alongside these Facebook polls, running things by them. So these are just, you want to have one common place where you can keep all your notes around your niche. And then we'll get to what this is in a bit when we talk about the homepage change. So put out a second post, and again, feel free to pause the video now if you want to read it. And again, it sort of starts off with something to hook them, right? If no one reads your Facebook post where you're asking for their opinion, you're not going to get a lot of comments. And then I checked in on the post I had put out last week, and I gave them 3 different options for curiosity hooks. Now, this is a little bit different from the last post, which was trying to do, I think it was a 140 character description. This is something that you would say maybe at a networking event when someone asks you what you did to grab their attention and have them want to learn more. The intention of a curiosity hook is not to explain every single aspect of your business and make it totally clear. It's to give them just enough so if they're an ideal client, they'll want to learn more. Okay, and I put a little image in here as well just to make it easier for people to see and respond to. And then people started voting. They put 1, 2, 3, and the thing that won was number 1. We help high performers look and feel the part. Okay, so that was people's favorite. It was also the favorite of a few select ideal clients who I'd worked with in the past who I reached out to. You don't want to necessarily weight everyone's opinion equally because some of these people probably aren't ideal clients for Enough Fitness, which is why you also want to go and target some people who you know that you're going to weight their opinion highly. And you can also say, hey, I know who these people are. They fall into my target demographic or they don't. Okay. So that was the second Facebook post. So with those 2 pieces of information, I was able to sort of refine, all right, what's the messaging that's going to be compelling for people? Not just clear, because the first thing I had was relatively clear, but it wasn't compelling. This is finally something that's compelling. So the third manifestation, right, now I have a way to describe what we do as a business, the final manifestation is your homepage. And let me show you what I came up with for the homepage headline for Enough Fitness. Okay, want a body you're proud of will help you lose the weight once and for all. And then there's a free download. It's a home workout that you can do without needing equipment, and it's short, it's 10 minutes. So it's the type of thing that my ideal client, especially stuck in a pandemic and COVID, would want to download. Okay, so this line here in your website, it's the homepage of the site. It's the first line, it's the headline, and then this is the subheadline. Those are two of the most important pieces of copywriting that you have on your site. And so in this Evernote, where below I had all these things I was getting clear on for my messaging and how to articulate who we worked with and what they wanted, I had a brainstorm of different headlines. Now, there's a few different approaches you can take with headlines. So there's, I call it the 5-word question approach. It doesn't have to be exactly 5 words, but you're essentially asking a question that speaks to the problem or result that your ideal clients want. The result they want, the problem they want to solve. So that is ultimately the approach I went with this headline. But you see, I went through a bunch of different, potential ideas, like stuck working out at home, right? That's a fine thing to hook someone, but it's not that interesting, and it only speaks to the freebie. It doesn't really speak to what we do as a whole as a business. And I had things like feel stuck with your weight loss or want to take control of your weight. All of those are fine, but want a body you're proud of speaks to that high performer who feels like when they look in the mirror, what they see is different from how they view themselves because they're successful at work, but their body doesn't reflect that. Okay, so again, you just want to write out like 25 headlines. Don't judge them until you go back and look at them. Second thing you can do is just share, here's what we do, basically. This is a little bit different, and I'll give you some examples. So FreshBooks is one example. The headline is all-in-one small business invoicing and accounting solution, right? So that's just, here's what it is. Here's what we do. And the benefit of this approach is it's very clear. But sometimes it doesn't hook people as much, right? It doesn't really get them to keep reading and engage all the time. But there's some great websites who use this. So bench.co, that's what I use for my bookkeeping. You run your business, we'll do your bookkeeping, right? It's very clear what the software does. And then Digital Marketer is another example I pulled that does this. Tools and trainings for digital marketers. Like, it's very, very clear. It's the equivalent of saying, hey, this is a Mexican restaurant, right? If it's a retail store and your headline on your homepage is basically the equivalent of that sign out front. So the what we do approach is a solid one. So if I had done that, I would have done something like fitness coaching for high performers, or I might have even used my curiosity hook, helping high performers look and feel the part. The problem is, as I tested all these out, and I literally would go in and I would plug in one of these headlines, screenshot it, and just see does it grab me? What does it look like? And this just didn't grab me. It didn't feel clear enough. It was a little bit too long and clunky. And then the final approach is just the result statement. Now, this is just saying, here's what you want, basically. It's speaking to the result. So an example would be Eben Pagan, someone in the online marketing space. Grow your business, profit, and income, right? So if that's what you want, that's what you're going to get here, and then you have the rest of the site. So this is actually an approach that I take with gregfaxon.com, is the statement approach, which I'll show you in a moment. But either way, you want 5 to 6 words. You want to identify the problem in the headline or the result, and then you want the subheadline to talk about your solution, okay, if there's a subheadline. So here I say, we'll help you lose the weight once and for all, right? The problem is they don't have a body they're proud of. The solution is losing the weight once and for all, okay? And again, I have other brainstormed things. I had lose the weight once and for all as the headline, which is actually pretty decent. I didn't like it as much as this question. And I have other brainstorms here. So ultimately what I ended up doing is want a body you're proud of. I did the question approach. Someone who does the question approach who I like is Neil Patel. This is someone who I interesting looking dude, but knows a ton about SEO and driving traffic to your site. So whenever I have like a website question, I'm always going to look at his stuff. So this is his headline for his homepage. Do you want more traffic? And then he has like a website analyzer as his opt-in. It's actually, I don't even think it requires an email address. So do you want more traffic? Very clear. And that's essentially the approach I took with Enough Fitness. Want a body you're proud of. All right. So you want to ask yourself 2 questions as you're testing these headlines. Number 1, is it about them or about you? Okay. Is this headline is about them? They want a body they're proud of, or is it about you? We're a fitness coaching business online, right? That would not be as compelling of a headline, even though it was clear. Is it obvious what you help with? So for example, some life coaches will have unleash your potential or something, or the power is within you. And unless you're Tony Robbins or something, you're probably not going to get away with that vague of a headline, because I don't know what you do, right? Or it's own your power, right? That just, it sort of speaks to a result, but I don't know what that means. So you have to give me a little bit more specificity, make it a little bit more tangible. And remember, keep it short. We're looking 5 to 10 words max for this headline. All right. And after the headline, you want to have your freebie. So I already talked a bit about this freebie that I linked to, but ideally your headline transitions pretty seamlessly. It makes sense with the thing that you're offering, right? People associate fitness and weight loss with working out. They're going to get a free workout. All right, so that is Enough Fitness. While I was doing this, I went and reviewed gregfaxon.com, and I realized that it wasn't the way I wanted it to be. So this is what it looks like now, and this is just weird spacing because I'm using my external monitor. It used to say, I help coaches fill their client roster. And now it says, fill your roster with high-end clients, right? So I can even show you what it looked like here. There we go. I help coaches fill their client roster, right? So what is the problem with this? It's about me, right? It's about me. And even in the subhead, download my 21 ways to find, it's just wordy and it's about me. So I help coaches fill their client roster, and I changed it to fill your roster with high-end clients, discover 21 ways to find clients, get my free guide. Very simple, very easy. So that is how you do headlines. That is, some Facebook posts that you can experiment with if you're refining your niche. This is more advanced work, so I'd like you to have worked with clients at this point, sort of get data and use the words of your clients. Don't necessarily go too crazy on this stuff when you're just starting out, you haven't ever coached anyone. All right, hope that helped, and we'll talk soon.